So what's the genesis of the idea? Was it we need to help the industry adapt to automation, like this ends up driving automation faster, or what is it?
It's not acting like an ostrich. We're not putting our head in the sand, not looking what is happening around us.
Okay.
Technology is coming in our lives. Like somebody can go out and say, well, I'm not using AI. Eventually, AI is going...
Oh, yeah.
Like we've seen it in roasting machines, we've seen it in like everything. We see now new technologies coming in sorting or in tasting that they use AI to tell you to help like coffee professionals.
This episode is proudly brought to you by Mapper Forward's workshop, It's Time to Become a Coffee Consultant. Learn how to diversify your revenue streams and create freedom from your day job while saying goodbye to that alarm clock forever by becoming a consultant within the coffee industry or directly to consumers who have shifted towards home brewing and home roasting. Protect your income from challenging times in the coffee value chain by taking this course today. Go to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the show notes for details. Powered by DXB Live and World of Coffee Dubai, Mapper Forward is proud to be the official podcast partner of World of Coffee Dubai in 2024 for a second year in a row. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 5, our last for the first day of World of Coffee. It's the 5th episode in a 15-part series on how we empower the coffee industry in 2024. We are here recording this series at World of Coffee Dubai 2024. And I have a very interesting conversation that we're about to have. Yannis Apostolopoulos, the CEO of the SCA, is joining me. Welcome, Yannis.
Hi, Lee.
We are here to talk about some very specific things along the lines of, I'm going to ask you the question, and so the question is, how can we empower the coffee industry in 2024? And when you and I talked about this, there's some very specific things going on for you at the moment that kind of fit into the niche of how we have this conversation. So go ahead and answer the question.
So there are many things that we can do to empower the industry. And I'm talking about the whole value chain. I think us staying true to the purpose of why we support the specialty coffee community, especially as SCA, and it's to foster that global coffee communities and support activities to make coffee more sustainable, equitable, and thriving as an activity for the entire value chain. Mm-hmm. It's a way where we're bringing empowerment to people and having the right conversations. And one of the conversations that we have been trying to have over the last couple of years with the introduction of the new coffee value assessment tool is understanding how we generate value, how we capture value in coffee, and eventually, hopefully, it will lead to conversations about how we distribute value in coffee.
Okay.
Now, interestingly enough, one of the things that you and I talked just before we start this one has to do with our recent announcement about the sponsorship in
right.
Latte Art. And does this have to do with empowerment? Yes and no. But I want to bring a bit of clarity because many things have been said around it, and to let people understand where we're coming from and how we got here.
So just wait a second, let me make sure I frame that correctly for people. So we're talking specifically here about the announcement that the SCA recently made regarding the latte art competition and the new partner for that, correct? The new equipment that's going to be used for that competition.
Yeah, Thermoplan is now our new sponsor. We're very happy and proud about it.
Okay.
So the last years, we are all in the coffee industry, and we've seen a couple of things happening around us. First of all, you go to many coffee shops, specialty coffee shops,
right?
And you will see technology all around the barista.
Yeah.
From gravimetric machines, gravimetric grinders, to machines that they tamp automatically. You have like machines that they froth the milk, like Uber milk automatically. So you go there and you see a process that the barista is following. You have grinders that talk to the machine to micro-adjust to make sure that the extraction is great.
There's automation everywhere.
Yeah, and you see that we are putting that automation because we're trying to keep consistency on the product that we offer to the customers.
Yeah.
We've also seen that after the pandemic, it was very hard to get people to work in the hospitality industry. And that has been a huge issue for a lot of coffee shop chains and coffee shop owners, and talking about their business and their sustainability has been very challenging. So, on the other hand, we see technology, like we see AI coming everywhere. We're talking about how it's going to impact our work. But on our industry, we have like a part that it was like the super automatics machines, that they have made huge progress over the last years, and they have created machines that they can deliver a great beverage. So as we're seeing that, we said, okay, how we can embrace that as an industry, and how we can kind of de-demonize those machines because they're producing a great cup of coffee. They will also allow the barista more time to communicate with the consumer and try to talk about coffee and what we stand for and what we're trying to achieve. So in Athens in 2023, when we announced the rules and regulations, we opened up the sponsorship for latte art to super automatic. And why latte art? Latte art it's a competition that the barista takes a lot of time to do the art, and we needed a standard espresso beverage so that all the competitors have the same espresso base to compete. But also, we are not taking away from the craftsmanship of the barista. Like some people accuse us, oh, you're going to use auto steamer or whatever. No, the competition will use a regular steamer. The barista will steam the milk and will pour the latte art. So just to say that clear. What is important is in the past, super automatic machines, they didn't have a significant market share within the specialty coffee industry. But now we see them more often, even in specialty coffee shops. So it was the idea of how do we go out there and we embrace technology in what we're doing in a level that goes to the highest level, which is the competition. We have worked with the Competition Strategic Committee for years. We did testing with the machines. We worked with manufacturers, and it was not just one specific manufacturer, Thermoplan, who won. Everybody, every super automatic, and even traditional espresso machines that they produce super automatics participated. And we went through workshops to understand how the machines work. We had world latte art and barista champions advising us, looking at the machines. So we went through a whole process to create a standard on how we look on the machines and what we value and what we're looking for the machine to get on that level. So it's been on planning for many years, and it was not just a last-minute decision.
People need to understand that, because the direction that this conversation took online went pretty nasty pretty quickly. And I'm not here defending anybody or anyone or anything. I'm stating a fact here. This, from how you explained it to me, if I'm not mistaken, this process has taken a year.
Oh, more than a year.
More than a year.
Like it's on the planning for the last, I think, 3 years.
Right.
We start having meetings, right, I think during the pandemic or like 2020, 2021, it was the first meetings that we had about like the idea and how we bring it forward.
So what's the genesis of the idea? I mean, the thing I love about this is I just get to ask you straight up this stuff. So what's the genesis of the idea? Was it we need to help the industry adapt to automation, like this ends up driving automation faster, or what is it?
It's not acting like an ostrich. We're not putting our head in the sand, not looking what is happening around us.
Okay.
Technology is coming in our lives. Like somebody can go out and say, well, I'm not using AI. Eventually, AI is going,
oh yeah,
like we've seen it in roasting machines, we've seen it in like everything. We see now new technologies coming in sorting or in tasting that they use AI to tell you to help like coffee professionals.
yeah,
There is one way to say, okay, I'm gonna still use like whatever, like I saw someone saying I was using CDs for a long time and I didn't transition.
There's
like,
nothing wrong with CDs,
Yes,
but there's
but-
something more efficient. Okay, I get the point there.
So we need to embrace it. And if we don't do it,
We being the industry or we
Yes.
being the SCA?
exactly, we being SCA
Competitions?
and the industry. SCA
Okay.
is the industry. We are a trade association.
Right.
And we need to understand what is happening around us. And we need to help people that they are in the industry, in the specialty coffee industry, to really understand what is happening around us and find ways that we bring technology in to deliver on the purpose that I described earlier to make coffee better.
All right, on that. I saw a whole bunch of stuff happening. It was like a wave of coffee people having lots of opinions about this decision, either for it or against it online. What it got me thinking is that last time we talked, or maybe the time before that, and I said to you, I think that the problem is that there's a lack of communication from the SCA, what the SCA does. This is a perfect example of the manifestation of that. I think there's a conflation between what role people think the SCA should be playing in the industry. And I just had this thought as you were talking there, because that's the point of conversations, right? Like, what I think is happening is that people think you're supposed to be standing up for baristas and you're supposed to be standing up for their future and you're supposed to be standing up for the longevity of their jobs and all this kind of stuff. And I wonder, I have no idea, do you think that that's what's happening here? Because it was kind of brutal what happened online. But, I mean,
It wasn't brutal, it was expected. Resistance to change is
But
like
is that
it's
what it
called
was?
it's called inertia in physics, correct?
okay, yeah.
And it exists. Like we're putting someone out of their comfort zone or for
Okay.
everything. Like we're having difficult conversations as a society, as an industry, a specialty coffee industry, and we had many difficult conversations.
Right.
And we are actually pushing the boundaries. Unless we push the boundaries, there is no progress. And we're putting people out of their comfort zone at this moment. So yes, we're there to support baristas, to support the industry, because that talks about the sustainability of the industry
Yeah.
and the jobs of the baristas and everything. Like, I'm not saying that there will be no traditional machines. There will be. There will be also automatic machines. And if we close our eyes and we say they don't exist, then I don't think that we're serving the
I agree.
stakeholders
Look,
properly.
And just to be clear, like I've been talking to people who are listening, like I've been talking about automation for many years and saying that we need to lean into it. And I'm a big champion of the idea, particularly we saw the labour situation coming and it helps business owners. I'm the person who champions the business owner. That's my primary objective here. Business owner from the producer all the way up to the end of the supply chain. I think they're the most underrepresented in all of the conversations that are having. And this is why I have a problem with competitions, right? Because they're not actually paying attention to the business owner. But that's for another podcast. That's a whole other podcast. What we're talking about here is the idea that we're in an industry that is undergoing a lot of change very quickly. And people don't know how to adapt to that. And the cognitive dissonance that comes from what you guys are doing, I think, is making people hyper aware of themselves being stuck in something that's been the same for a long time. And how do we empower those people who are perhaps looking at the way that they're responding to this and recognizing that they have responded negatively, and now knowing that that wasn't done as something, and we'll address the other issue that came with this in a second, but how do we empower people that are perhaps stuck in that cognitive dissonance and how to move forward?
First of all, I don't agree with you on the competitions, but that's on a different
He had to say that for the record, folks, but that's fine.
As you said. Again, we've seen our industry changing, adapting fast during COVID. The business models changed completely for a lot of coffee shops.
Yeah.
Some people went out of business.
Yeah.
But some people
thrived.
They find ways to change the business,
Yeah.
to adapt. They showed resilience. And I think that is happening on every industry. And that's a life cycle of every business.
And AI is just going to make that go quicker.
I think having being open-minded, understanding what is happening around us, having honest and transparent conversations with everyone on the value chain. And we talked about it during the pandemic, how difficult it was for producers to bear all the risk and not share the risk
I agree.
as the rewards with their customers. I think that those are the key and fundamental things that makes a value chain really sustainable and an industry more resilient. So looking at the environment and what is around us and how we can be open to adapt what is happening, because it's something that is happening. It's not us trying to stop it. And what is the best way, a better way to do it than actually embrace it in the highest level of in the pinnacle of specialty coffee, which are the competitions today.
Right. So the other part of the conversation that was happening online is the fact that the partnership, do we call it a partnership? Is it a partnership?
Yeah, it's
or a
always
sponsorship?
It's a partnership, it's a sponsorship. Yeah,
it's a financial arrangement.
It's not only.
No. Okay, so can you tell us about what it means for the SCA? So what does it mean? Because the part, a lot of the memes that were online, a lot of the discussion that was online was more focused around money than it was focused around anything else, right?
People can see whatever they want to see.
But we're here.
And it is a sponsorship.
Yeah.
As we have sponsorship for grinders, for traditional machines, for cleaning suppliers. When we're doing the process, as I said, we set a standard, what we're looking from the machines. We tested all the machines. We had specific testing that happened in the context of developing the standard, but also after developing the standard of testing the machines to make sure that they can be at the level that we want them to perform on a stage. And we're looking at the availability and the distribution network that the companies that they put a bid have. We're looking at the technical support that we can have in multiple geographies. So it's not like, who is just paying like the biggest number. It's a sponsorship like everything else that we're doing, and it's a partnership, because the sponsors of any world competition, they're putting a lot of effort, a lot of energy internally to be able to deliver in that level, and for the competitors to have the best experience they can when they get on the stage.
Right.
So it's a good partnership, and we're learning from them, they're learning from us. And as we change, like for example, espresso machine sponsorship like 3 years ago, we just changed for latte art.
Okay. And so, do you have anything to say about the memes and the...
No, like people can express their opinions. I'm okay with that. Like, look, we are trying to do our job the best way we can. We're putting processes in place to do that, and we feel comfortable with the decisions that we're making. And we're 100% behind the decisions we're making. So everybody can have opinions about everything.
And I guess it's your job as a CEO to make sure that you fulfill you have a fiduciary responsibility to the viability of the business.
Well, yes, and my board and everything, but it's not a decision that has to do with money. It's a decision. It's a strategic decision. We understood what is happening in the industry, and we said, what's the best way to bring it in and embrace it? We have seen like automatic machine on the show floors of our shows for years.
I mean, I'm the last person to argue with you about this because I'm a big I'm a champion of automation from the perspective of it's going to solve a lot of problems that we have. Look, when someone can go and sell pictures of their feet on OnlyFans for $50,000 a month, why are they going to go and be a barista?
Yeah.
That's what we're faced with post-pandemic. People had to adapt during the pandemic. So we're going to continue to find issues with finding labour in our industry. Producers are stuck with fruit on their trees because they can't find labour. We're going to have to find ways to adapt from that perspective as well. From me, I'm looking at it from the business owner's perspective, and we're in trouble.
And for me, also, it's not that we're taking a role away. Like the barista role doesn't
You can still draw your pretty pictures, folks.
No, it's not that. I think it's the barista role is going to be there. Like, let's say this. Some years ago, we didn't have like access to technology, computers. The accountants were sitting, writing in a book, adding, doing the work. Today, accounting is still super relevant.
But it's done by AI a lot of the time.
But still, the professional is there.
Yeah.
And they have more time to focus on what they need to focus.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the barista will not focus in getting the best extraction. It might be that the equipment that they're using might be different. Might be the same equipment they use today, because I don't ever think that the traditional machines are gonna go away. I think they're gonna stay, because you get a different type of beverage, but it's not for all the time.
Right, it depends on the business model that you've got,
Exactly.
right? And it depends on how you want to adapt. And the way that the consumer behavior is adapting, where convenience, consistency, all of that. I mean, if you have a customer base that's happy to sit there and wants an experience and wants artisan this and all of that, keep the traditional machines.
But there are coffee shops that they have a traditional machine to serve the customers
that want that.
That they are staying to consume the beverage there, but for to go, they're using super automatic.
Right.
And they're specialty coffee shops.
Right. And I guess it's relevant to this conversation now that we're having it. Where do you see that the role of the barista goes if somebody does choose to continue to work as a barista? Where does it go as super automatic machines, or just automatic machines in general? As automation is the uptake in the industry, where does the role of the barista go? Do they become like a coffee concierge? Do they become a customer service person? Do they become a salesperson? What do they become?
The barista is all of that today.
Today they are. They haven't figured that out yet, though.
But it's going to continue. Like,
But does that become the majority of their job? More and more.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They will still be the person who tastes the coffee and make adjustments to make
They set the
extraction
tone of the
properly.
coffee. The machine
Yeah.
makes that tone.
They will have more time for customer service. They will have more time to be a host, as you said, or like there are things that they're going to happen. But again, it's I don't think it's switching from traditional to super automatics.
Yeah.
Both they coexist on the market, and they have
Yep.
been coexisting for years.
Yeah. And I think that is an interesting. I think that this announcement that you guys made, I think it was fascinating that the industry reacted like this.
Well, some people reacted like this. You don't have the full picture
No.
of the industry on social media.
Right.
We never have this. We
Right.
hear from the people that they want to talk to us.
Right.
Some people, they might like this. Like, actually, some people wrote, oh, that's great because we can bring more baristas into the competitions. Maybe baristas that they're
Wow.
not in that part of like extracting the best espresso, but they do latte art, or like people that they want to work in that part of the industry. So we make maybe this competition a bit more accessible.
Well, you know that I'm happy about that, at least if I'm not that big on competitions. I mean, because I find competitions to be quite an elitist endeavor and separatist. And you and I have had this
We have
conversation
different
before, but they're
opinions.
correct. But that's the beauty of the fact that you can have friendships with people and professional conversations with people and not agree on everything. That's the point.
Okay, that's life, eh?
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
But the point on this podcast is to demonstrate that. And so that people are not afraid of disagreeing with each other, but in a constructive way.
And I think when we express opinions and we're open to
Respectfully.
hear, yes, and understand, we can create things that they are much better.
Yeah, and the superpower of it is that it leads to you thinking about this conversation and me thinking about this conversation as we go away into our life and thinking, how can I steel man Yannis's position on this?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. Like
Right.
that's the discussion and how we synthesize.
And I would encourage anybody that's listening to this to consider that prospect, because leaving the way you think up to people who are thinking for you on the internet is not a healthy way to approach your business or your life.
Oh no.
And so this podcast exists to empower you to think about things in your own way. So thank you for this conversation. It was actually really fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everyone that's listening enjoyed it. And I hope that we can put this shit to bed on the internet, because it's kind of distracting at the moment. Would you sign us off? Wait, before you do that, you were the one that started this. Do you know that?
No.
You were the one that started the guest signing off the peace, love and peanut butter. You were the first one to do it.
Yeah. So peace, love, and peanut butter.
Peace,
Thank you
love
so
and
much.
peanut butter, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.